What's up guys, Swift here covering everything Chicago Bears. We just had our bye week and a Sunday with no Bears football, but there was still a lot to root for. Today I wanted to give an update on our draft pick positions. I also have an update on Marvin Harrison Jr. and we'll drop a quick mock draft at the end of this one. Let's get right into it. The Chicago Bears currently hold the number 1 and number 5 pick in next year's draft. Our pick actually moved down one spot from number 4 to number 5 due to the Commanders losing again. If we lose to the Lions next week, we would jump right back up to pick number 4. We have the strength of schedule tiebreaker over them. I do think we can beat the Lions though. And I'll keep you guys updated on our picks, but the biggest thing is to root for the Panthers to continue losing. The biggest news from yesterday is that the Panthers did lose again, and it was a big game when it comes to draft positioning for multiple reasons. One, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are one of the few teams that would jump the Bears and Panthers in a tiebreaker situation due to their strength of schedule. The Bucs winning that game was big and a reason to celebrate. Ryan Poles chose the best team to trade the number 1 pick to, as the Panthers are now 1-11 and the first team eliminated from playoff contention. The odds of getting the top 2 pick from the Panthers is almost 90% now. The Panthers can win 2 more games and would still be guaranteed to give us a top 2 pick. The only team that's a real threat right now for the number 1 pick is the New England Patriots, who are just a game back. They're also tied with the Panthers in strength of schedule, so we're rooting for the Patriots to win. It looks like Mitch Trubisky and the Steelers will go against the Patriots next week. And on top of that, the Cardinals just beat the Steelers. This was also big as they were a threat to steal the number 1 pick. And another reason I don't want the Cardinals picking in front of us is because I really think they could steal Marvin Harrison Jr. They already have a quarterback in Kyler Murray, and they just signed him last year to a 5-year, $230 million deal with $160 million guaranteed. They can't really get out of Kyler's contract. If they traded him or cut him in 2024, he would cost them over $180 million in dead cap hits spread out over a couple of years. To me, I think the Cards are stuck with Kyler Murray, so they definitely would be interested in bringing in a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. to help him out. So it was big that the Cardinals got a win yesterday. I actually hope they win a couple more games down the stretch too. And then I have some news about Marvin Harrison Jr. There was a recent report on Twitter that Marv could return to school next year. I believe that ship has sailed today. Let me explain why. One of the big reasons people thought that Marv might have returned to Ohio State was to have another chance at a national title with his longtime teammate and friend quarterback Kyle McCord. A lot of people don't realize this, but McCord was Marvin Harrison Jr.'s high school quarterback as well. Together they won 3 state championships and then got to play this season together at Ohio State. Today, Kyle McCord, Ohio State's quarterback, entered the NCAA transfer portal, so he will not be back with Ohio State next year. To me, that all but confirms that Marvin Harrison Jr. will be entering the NFL draft. He is a generational talent if you ask me, and most likely a surefire top 3 pick. Guys as talented as Marv don't come along very often, and he's my number 1 target for the Bears. Speaking of that, I did a mock draft for those who love that. I realize it's early, but I wanted to show a look at what is possible and how much better this team could look just a few months from now. I don't like to get crazy with trades. I like to keep expectations in check, but I did trade back from number 1 to number 2 overall with the Patriots, who ended up taking Drake May at number 1. At number 2, I took Marvin Harrison Jr., giving the Bears one of the best wide receiver groups in the NFL. I was able to add an early pick in the 2nd round, just moving back 1 spot. I then added Jared Verse with our 2nd first-round pick, a monster defensive end to work across from Montez Sweat and complete this defensive line. With the 2nd rounder, I picked up Troy Fautanu. He plays left tackle for Washington, and he could come in and give some competition for Braxton Jones at left tackle, but I actually would draft him to play swing tackle and fill in at guard. I then added Tavondre Sweat for more help on the defensive line. Cedric Von Prawn at top center, Deion Sanders' son to play safety, Shiloh Sanders, and more interior line help. This is a very talented draft class, and we currently have 2 top 5 picks. That is franchise altering, and Ryan Poles should be able to land 2 blue chip prospects and potentially more picks and more players going forward as well. This is another huge offseason for the Bears, and Ryan Poles is armed with plenty of opportunities and ammunition to make this team competitive as early as 2024. I think that's one of the biggest reasons to bring Justin Fields back, is this team is on the verge of competing. And if we draft another quarterback, it's going to set that rebuild back at least 1 year. But at the end of the day, I just want the Bears to win a Super Bowl. Just one. Please give us one, Ryan Poles. That's what I want. The Bears are technically in the hunt for the playoffs again. So the rest of this season is strictly to evaluate Justin Fields, the rest of the players on this roster, and more importantly, this coaching staff. We need to figure out if we have the right coaching staff in place moving forward. These next 5 games are going to be used to evaluate the coaches. I think this Lions game coming up is a huge one. Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy have had 2 weeks to prepare for this Lions team that we just let come back and beat us recently. This one is going to be on the coaches. How this team plays and responds against the Detroit Lions at home is going to say a lot about this coaching staff going forward. Let me know what you guys think. We have a ton of possibilities this offseason. 2 first-round draft picks, a ton of cap space, and another historic offseason in the makings. I couldn't be more excited, but right now this Bears team is still alive at 4-8, and these coaches had 2 weeks to prepare for a rematch against the Lions. If we can win this game, if these coaches can prove that they've finally gotten these players playing to the level they're capable of, and that we can finish games, then there will be plenty of reason for optimism. Because mathematically, if this team wins out and goes 9-8, they should be in the playoffs. I don't know how realistic that is. We haven't even won 2 games in a row yet with Matt Eberflus as head coach, but this is on the coaching staff. The ball is in their court. We had a bye week to prepare, and this team is as healthy as they've been all season for this final stretch run. We're going to see what these coaches are made of, and we're going to be able to evaluate this roster a little bit better heading into another historic offseason. Can they build some momentum down the stretch and get some wins? Stay tuned, guys. I'll be here covering it every step of the way. Please remember to hit that like button for me, and until next time, bear down.